all of where everybody was waiting.
Oh, gee, that's all right.
That's gonna be it. Hi guys, welcome to the Coffee Table Talks. Welcome to the Coffee Table Talk Security Shit Show. It's a shit show. 100%. You know what it was? I was way too confident the last couple of times, Will, that everything went real smooth.
Yeah.
So I hit the go live button, and then suddenly Restream was like, "Your event's over." I was like, "Wait, no, that's not."
Oh my.
So now we're live in places people don't know that we're live. So that's
I'm actually, I'm sitting on Twitter and I've got a what. I have no fucking clue.
Yeah. So I gotta go to the YouTube right now, find where it's live right there. Yeah.
Well, good. That gives Evan time to join. He is currently walking to the beach to attempt to get stronger signal strength.
That's hilarious.
That's
yeah,
rough.
it's even titled wrong. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I got to walk down to the beach in Mexico to get some better strength.
Telling you, he's been kidnapped and sold to the freaking cartels.
I know him too well. He would find a way. He would just end up going, look, so y'all are interested in some crypto coin, right?
Yeah.
I can help you out with that.
Oh man.
He wouldn't get kidnapped. He'd get employed.
That'd be hilarious.
Okay, we're on YouTube.
He wouldn't get kidnapped.
Yeah, I mean we're on YouTube, but it's underneath Kathy's title. I don't even know how this happens. No idea.
Somebody needs there we go. Somebody's got to mute their YouTube channel first.
Yep. That was me.
Sorry,
Yeah,
right. We do it all the time on Shitshow.
it's perfect. This is perfect. This is totally indicative of how things in my life go.
Oh, this is
Just roll with the punches, man, and try to gracefully dismount. That's all I can do.
it's technology.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
It's technology. I mean, given how what are we on today? It is the 15th, the 45th or 46th? 46th day of December. Yeah. December the 46th.
54th.
No. It can't be 54, you Fruit Loop.
No, I can't because we live in a time warp.
Okay, I granted on that one. But I'm going to go with the legit one, which is 31 plus 15. So, yeah, we got 46. It's December the 46th of 2020. I do like that one. I really do want to fuck around with the calendar. Am I allowed to swear on this one? I can swear on the shit show. Am I allowed to swear on this one? Do I have to be civilized?
Yeah, no, you can. You know what? I'm going to go with you are Chris Roberts. Today you are Johnson Livingston Smith.
Smythe, not Smith. Smythe.
Oh.
Smythe. Livingston Smythe.
Livingston Smythe.
Yeah.
It asked me for a name. It didn't say put your name in here. It just said put a name in here. I'm like, all right, I got discovered. Didn't ask me to verify it or anything. So, I mean, fuck it. It's nice. It didn't ask me for an email address. I would have given it freaking one of the fun ones.
I mean, I've seen other people try to give you rules to live by. I'm trying not to be that person because it doesn't look like it works out very well. So, Chris,
it never works out well. Yeah,
you do, Chris. Let's go with that.
What the hell did I just do? How do I get to the chat system? I don't want private chat. How do I chat in the chat thing?
Oh, you should be able. Can you not from the live stream instance? If you can't, you'll have to open it up.
To chat on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah. And do what we're doing, which is exactly that.
I've got the chats on here. You're on air. What's this? This is rest. Hi there. Thanks for choosing Restream. Oh, can I break the system?
And do what we're doing.
Please don't.
Equals. What is it? Hang on. Equals. No. What is it? -1 equals negative. What the hell is it?
The way things have been going so far this morning is, if you want to break it, all you have to do is kind of like blow on it a little bit. And
You know what I really think happened? I think I hit the go live button on the original setup and event schedule, and I fat fingered it and did it twice. You know what I mean? So I'd go live in stream immediately. That's the only thing I can think of, going back through, looking at everything the way it was set up. The only thing that could have possibly have happened.
Yes, you can put SQL and you can. No, we'll just leave it at that. Restream, you don't sanitize your inputs in your help system. Okay, God, I love networks. I love systems. Select star from, and they put a couple of other things, just completely confuse their fucking system.
No, you got the command. Just give them the Windows 10 command.
Yeah, Rachel, remember that nice special YouTube URL you just got? Yeah, it's gone.
They're gonna revoke it. Look, I'm trying to find where I am, where we are live on LinkedIn.
Yeah, because this is coming in on your channel, so I'm hacking their database from your channel. Please hold.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
No problem at all.
Go for it.
I'm not. Johnson Livingston Smythe is currently doing it, so you can ban his sorry ass for all I care.
Well, there went my LinkedIn live.
I still don't have my LinkedIn live. Assholes. I think I applied for it like several months ago, whenever that was, and I still don't have anything. I'm like, I almost feel like I want to call them out just to piss them off for the fun and games of it.
Oh my gosh.
What's this little thing on here? Oh God, I'm having fun with this studio thing. This Restream.io has got so many little fun things that you can have fun with in here. Shit, God, we could actually do an application assessment live stream on their actual live stream.
Yeah.
All right.
Just don't look. The only thing I'm asking is we already broke it once today. Let's not go for twice.
It's only because I want to fuck with the. Ooh.
I've been still struggling to get a connection.
Tell him not to worry about it. Apparently, we're still screwed out.
Yeah, he may not be able to join us. He's gonna try, but
that stinks, man. Because I was gonna have him rub it in all our faces how much he's enjoying the beach.
Not a bad place to be.
Jerk. Well, while I'm fiddling with this, Ryan, why don't you take us through some story time and tell me how? Okay, so for everybody who doesn't know, the Security Shit Show is live most Thursday nights. You guys were off for like 3 weeks during the holidays. It's 10 p.m. my time, so it's actually really perfect because all of our kids are asleep, and so we can put it on the TV, and we don't care how much Chris says the F word. And so, yay! So we hang out every Thursday night, and it's Chris, Evan, and Ryan just like talking about different topics, but all of us in the chat have like become this family. Last night was the 32nd episode, and I'm playing with putting stuff on TikTok. So if you guys saw my fun little low production,
I saw something. I'm like, what in the hell's name was that? Yeah.
Isn't that cute? That was cute, right? I used home sourced sound effects at the end, like ran into my bathroom and actually flushed the toilet. Like,
oh, that's funny.
I love it.
It was fun. And anyway, so I kind of know a little bit about how you guys all got together and just but I don't know where did it start? Where's ground zero for the Chris, Ryan, and Evan relationship?
So first, we'll talk about the relationship piece, and then we'll talk about how the shit show came into existence.
Yeah.
So I know Evan, I think the first time Evan met Chris was some years ago at a security event. And they had maybe emailed, there was some light communication. Now at this time, Evan and I don't think had even met each other yet. So he knew who Chris was. They had had some communication, over the years. Evan and I hooked up with each other. That's a whole nother story for another day, but we got to know each other. We started working together. And in that time, I had met Chris completely separate of that through some of the work that I do in K-12. And I saw, the amazing work Chris was doing. I wanted to connect with them. So we kind of connected on LinkedIn and had a few, back and forth or whatever. And then Chris was giving a talk at our local con, BurCon. And Evan happened to be there. We didn't know each other was going to be there. It was one of these things. Well, we bump into each other in the hallway. And so we end up sitting in Chris's talk. And the whole time we're in Chris's talk, Evan's throwing dimes at the back of my head from like 3 rows back. Because that's how we do it. And so anyways, I had talked with Chris a little bit in the hallway. That was the first time I met him in person. And we chatted, and obviously, if you've ever seen Chris at a conference, he's a very in-demand individual. There are lines of people. Everybody wants some of the time, and he's nothing but gracious. He goes out of his way to make time for people as best as he can with the constraints he's got. So we chatted a little bit, and he's a busy guy. He had to move on. Great, no problem. So the conversation continues, and we're chatting back and forth, and Chris, helped me out with introducing me to a few people and, trying to help K-12 and all that. So that's, still happening, but it's, we're kind of, I don't know, what would you say? We probably talked once every couple months or something like that. It was, frequent, informal. Then I end up joining up with Security Studio and working with Evan. And through that work, I created a podcast, a K-12 security podcast. And one of the things I was getting a lot of feedback on from people that knew me and had seen me give talks in person was that it wasn't a genuine representation of me. That it was a great podcast, it was great topics, all that, but because they knew me, that the podcast didn't really represent me. And Evan actually gave me that feedback on a call we had, and this is how the Shitshow got started. So Evan says, hey, love what you're doing, but a bit of advice, or feedback, if you will, I can tell it's not the full you. It's not the authentic you. And I said, Evan, I can't be the full authentic me. This is for schools. like if I take the limiter off, I'm going to end up saying, a curse word, or I'm going to get whipped up about something, right? I'm a very passionate guy. And so when I get going, and if you watch the Shitshow, you'll pick up on that real quick. I'm a high energy, high passion guy. But anyways, I was complaining. I'm like, sometimes I just want to say, fuck it. And he goes, well, why don't we do a podcast like that? Let's call Chris. Let's do a podcast. And somewhere in the midst of that conversation, it was brought up that our industry was a shit show. And those two things combined. So my complaining, I didn't have a forum to curse and yell, and knowing our industry was a shit show, Evan goes, well, why don't we just start a new podcast called The Security Shit Show? I'm going to call Chris and see if he's into it.
I can see Chris going.
Was it that Thursday or the following Thursday? It happened real quick.
Oh, it was quick. Yeah, it was pretty quick.
So I think it was that actual Thursday where it was just like, yeah, let's do this. And thus the Shit Show was born. And we've actually published something on the blog about this, but originally this show was started for us. We love the audience. We enjoy having people participate. That's so cool. But the original intent of the show and kind of the core of why we do it and why we don't have guests, because sometimes people ask about that, why don't you do guests, is that the three of us it was one of those things where we just melded so quickly and so beautifully. We bring three vastly different perspectives, yet we have a very similar mindset about the challenges and what are viable solutions and all that. And so because the three of us just fit so well and complement each other, I think it was by episode 3 that we realized, hey, we've got something here. There's something magical to the uniqueness of our personalities and the way we approach it, and the fact that we're not afraid to say certain things. We're never disrespectful. We're not gonna get overly politicized, overly religious, anything like that. But we're also not going to be shy about being the authentic humans we are. Right. And what drives us, what our belief structure might be that drives us, those things, it's not a point of focus by any means, but we're also just not shy about it. And it was in that first 3 episodes that we realized, hey, whether or not anybody ever watches this thing, this is fun and we want to keep doing it. And then I think for me, and I'll let Chris speak to his own experience here, but for me, when I noticed that we started to be viewed as a bastion of sanity, a bastion of the way that it's supposed to be, and I don't necessarily agree with that. These are other people's words, but it was like, man, is this really the thing? And the feedback continues to be the same. It's, hey, we appreciate you guys being authentic. We appreciate you being willing to talk about difficult conversations from different perspectives, not actually agree, but work through and have a healthy dialogue. And so for me, that was all I needed to say. Not only is this fun and good to do, but it might actually be good for others. And so, you know, I'm fully committed. I'll keep doing this show until we just can't anymore. So I don't know, Chris, what was your experience going through this?
Kind of fairly similar, to be honest. I mean, it was definitely one of those things where, to your point, I mean, you and I caught up a couple on LinkedIn from 2018 or something like that. And it's all, sorry, this thing's just decided to go out of focus or whatever the hell it's doing. See if it gets it back in focus. Yeah,
give it the whole ball.
Nope. Stupid fucking thing.
It is now officially Blur's Day.
Yeah.
To know. So this is a great time for me to give everybody insight into what my vision is like without glasses. That's it, right there. That's exactly it. It's my perspective down at the bottom.
What the hell is it? Yeah. So I mean, to Ryan's point, and it's interesting because I remember when we first started doing these conversations. I always worry. Ryan's right. For good or for bad, I tend to bounce around with some fairly high energy on stage, and I get off, and there's always there's always fantastic conversations, but there's never enough freaking time. And there's an inherent sense of, I don't know if guilt's the right way of putting it, but there's a sense of, you know, I owe, because people have given me their time. I owe as much time as I possibly can. So it always worries me. This is why I spend a bunch of time like on the LinkedIn side of the world, because I'm like, I always get concerned when somebody says, hey, I saw you at a conference, or I did this or whatever. I'm like, oh shit, you know, did I give them enough time? Was I able to give time? Did I just have to literally go, I'm sorry, and run? Because it sucks, because so many, this came out of one of those situations. I mean, you think about what we have now and what we're doing with the shit show and what it's done. I hate to say it, for the three of us and everybody around, Rachel included, on the same kind of thing. It not only has it brought us together by far and away, which is fantastic. It definitely is a way to sit down and go, okay, I can unload. We can unload, and I think that's a really, really big thing. I'm very fortunate. I have somebody, Jesse, who's part of the Hit Squad. Jesse's another one that he and I, very different views on certain things, but absolutely have the ability to sit down, unload, listen, communicate together effectively, and then just go all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's finding this online with everybody on the shit show. It's really, really nice, and it is interesting. I feel somewhat caught between a rock and a hard place, because I actually want to promote the hell out of it. We haven't done a huge amount. We literally haven't done a huge amount on it.
But then you don't, right? Like it's
no. But there's a part of me that
Yeah.
I know. But there's a part of me that wants to, because I think, to Ryan's point, I think a lot more people possibly would benefit from seeing the realities of things. I mean, so many people look at me and go, oh my gosh, you're so successful, you've done so many amazing fucking things. But in reality, I fucked up badly a number of times. Like, really badly. You know, I'm still sitting here, and I have, you know, because of all the shit that happened with One More Labs, now Dark Owl, and all the shit that happened there, in 2023, my ex can come after me for $800,000. I am paying her $2,500 a month on a note that is owed on an $800,000 note because of the company that I had at the time that we divorced. And because I signed on a piece of paper, that note is owed in 2023. And didn't matter the company went away, didn't matter it was the company lawyers, didn't matter any of this other shit. So for everybody like, oh, you're doing amazing things. No, I fucked up badly. You know, I've done some stupid shit, and it's really nice on the shit show to be able to go, hey, look, this is the real me. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I've been able to do some crazy, amazing things, and I've done some stupid stuff, which has got me yelled at. But because I do some good stuff, my yellings tend not to be too drastic. But, you know, in life, you know, there's a lot of lessons like I don't want other people to go through.
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about that, right? And when you came and you well, virtually, when you talked to students at PIMA, right, you were very conversational, very open, relaxed like this. And that is a real benefit, especially for students. So I'll talk on behalf of students right now, to strip away the veneer of the industry and to realize that, you know, it's just people trying to do stuff. It's not as perfect as the textbooks would like you to think it is, right? and why we're trying to build that hands-on environment, so they get to realize what that is. And that's the beauty of what you guys do, is just by allowing all of us to hang out with you as you hang out, you strip away the veneer. It gets past that.
Well, it's
coffee, right?
You know, and that's a really good point, because you look. There are some people in this industry who are held in high esteem, and they portray themselves as the success machine, the perfect stuff, the #1 person in the world, not to name a name. And, you know, some of the other shit that goes with that. They portray themselves as this, well, I'm Mr. or Mrs. Perfect.
By the way, he stood me up twice now.
He's a fucker. He is, okay. I actually, no, that is one of the worst fucking people in this industry. I'm sorry. End of discussion.
But so famous.
Yeah, world's #1 hacker, apparently.
If y'all can read between the lines, right?
Yeah, we'll keep names out of this one.
Twice.
Why? Okay, why are you surprised?
I'm not surprised. You want to know what I actually am legitimately surprised about is that the time and effort has been taken to communicate that I'm going to be stood up.
To me, again, it's one of those things.
It's not a no-show situation that's happening. It's a can't do it today. Sorry, I missed the last when we were supposed to meet 7 hours ago kind of thing. Like, it's that kind of stand-up. And I'm like,
okay, here's my thing. You're enabling. You are allowing him to have that power to do that to you. And that's where, and I'm like, I'm done with that stuff. It's the same thing with LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, people are like, hey, we want to talk with you. Great. These are my blogs. You figure it out. You know where I am. Here's my email address. Figure it out. After that, I'm done. I am not going to chase.
Right.
There's just not enough hours in the day.
For me, it's not so bad because it's really just changing the dates on the invite, right, and then moving further out. Like, it's not that rough, but. I wanted to update you because I know.
Yeah, I know because I won't. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Leopards rarely change their spots. Don't say they don't, but leopards rarely change their spots. I think the shit show's nice because it gives us the ability, honestly, to run. It gives us the ability to strip the veneer away, and it gives people who are coming into this industry, I hate to say it, some warning signs in some ways.
Well, and hopefully hope. The one thing that I hope that we provide a vehicle of hope to folks that are especially newbies in this industry. I just did a Twitter post about this. Somebody said, once I finally gain enough experience, once I'm finally recognized in this industry, I'm going to write a book about perseverance when trying to get into the industry. And my response to that was, if you want to work in this business, you got to earn stripes before pay. Go volunteer anywhere that will take you and do the work. Get the experience before you get the paycheck. Because getting that first job, that no experience entry-level job that requires 77 years of experience in a technology that came out 6 seconds ago, that job's hard to get. If you don't have a track record. But if you can show that you've worked with your local YMCA, your baker, your grocer, your K-12 school, just the simple stuff. Maybe it was just installing antivirus software. You're going to be far better off to get that first job. So go do, right? You'll never know enough. I am the first to admit that I am not an expert, regardless of what people call me. I am a continuous learner who has a passion for curiosity and a passion for helping. If that's perceived as me somehow having expertise, well, fine for you, but just know I'm not better, I'm not smarter, I'm not faster. I may be really good at Google searching. And maybe that's what it takes to win in this industry. is to know how to find information and convert it, to action.
So we have a question from the group that's viewing. Matthew asked, one topic for the Shitshow side of things: as security improves for the average user, it becomes more secure for the criminals as well. What are the four of you views on this?
Game of chess. It's always a game of chess. I mean, this is this whole thing. Quantum encryption. Oh no, it'll render everything useless. Nothing's safe. Well, guess what? If one person's got the quantum encryption computer to actually unbreak things, somebody else has got the quantum computer to actually to re-encrypt things as well. So we've seen it, and there's a rather large argument. I'm not sure if security is improving for the average user, to be perfectly honest. That's an entirely different discussion. But no, it's chess. This is nothing more than a journey in a game of chess.
Well, Will and I had an interesting conversation last week after the live stream with Ritesh, and we were talking about the perspective of what it's like to be the criminal end of the industry, which you don't always consider, but you have to think about the fact, what actually does that criminal look like? What's their daily life like? And then we started talking about how
you consider it, and it's a good life. I mean, it depends on where you are in the food chain.
Right. So there you go. Where you are in the food chain. For how many people is this activity, like, this is how they're going to eat? You know what I mean? Here we are chilling out at our 9-to-5s, comfy with our air conditioning and food that can be delivered to our door. And, thinking, oh, bad guy, Mr. Hacker, whenever they call it that instead of criminal. Sorry, Chris. But it's like, there's, I don't know, they're just trying to make ends meet on their side, and we're just trying to keep them out. And
we saw years ago, and actually it's still true today. I remember many times a lot of the credit card data and a lot of the system data, when they were reusing credit cards, so many people were using it just to buy groceries. Yeah. That was it. They weren't going buying TVs to resell them. They were buying freaking groceries just to survive.
Well, Ryan, thank you for hanging out. I know you got a hard stop here. Me and Will are still going to hang out for a few more minutes and go through some of this. We knew we'd go over.
Yeah, and sorry to bounce. I'd love to stay because I'm having a blast. In closing, I'll say this about security for the average person improving versus that creating a more secure environment for criminals to operate. Legislation that's appropriate solves that problem. Law enforcement already has every mechanism that they need to get what they need from the data. They can do that. So you can actually make the users more secure while not inhibiting law enforcement's ability to conduct their investigations into that criminal activity. So that's my take on it. And I hope that everybody that's listening today, stop by, check out the Shitshow on YouTube. Feel free to look us up on Twitter and LinkedIn and all that. And I hope to talk to you guys again soon. As always, Rachel, you're amazing. Thank you for putting all these things together for us. Yeah. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, no worries.
See ya.
See ya.
It's just like whenever you actually go and hang out at a coffee house with your security friend, somebody's always like, "Oh, I gotta go."
Totally. Come and go. It's easier that way.
Yeah, I mean, and what I was getting to is really just that, the motivations for the criminals are so much stronger to do their activities. Like, there's so much, whatever that driving force is that gets them up every day to get them happy about doing their.
I mean, think about it. Okay, think about it this way. The perfect way of looking at it. Let's all break our workday into, if we do 8 hours, or what we're doing. Let's just say 8-hour workdays. Okay, yeah, exactly. I know. Let's just say 8-hour workday. All right, for 8 hours we are focused on whatever we're focused on for actual work.
Yeah.
Maybe for 5 minutes of that, you're like, oh, I need to update my patch because it's yelling at me. I need to do this. Let me just check my logs, whatever it is. Let's be honest, it's no more than 5, maybe 10 minutes of our own personal systems of what we're looking after. The individuals that are leveled against you have that exact 8 hours to focus on you and you alone. for you and the team people. That's unfortunately where we have such a strange breakdown. And the technology that we have that is meant to be protecting us isn't able to fill in those other 7 hours and 55 minutes, to be perfectly honest.
Right. Their entire day, exactly to your point, their entire day is wrapped around figuring out how to break your stuff.
And the other thing is as well, you think about it. I mean, if you look, so a perfect example, you go back to the scams from 5, 10, 15 years ago. Our friendly folks over in Nigeria, Kenya, various other countries, and I mean they were fantastic. I was part of the 419 eaters and all the other stuff that goes with it. And I mean, we had a riot with this stuff. And then all of a sudden, you start to see the influences coming in from other regions, our friends over in Soviet Union and various other places, because it's money. And because where there's money, there's crime and everything else. So you get somebody who's 6'3" and hairy, knocks on your door and goes, "Hey, I noticed you're scamming people in the US. You keep 20%, you give me 80%, I make sure that you can keep doing your work. I give you better templates. I give it better ways of doing it." And you don't have the option to say no. Let's be honest on this one. And
Right.
so you end up with this coming in, and all of a sudden those folks had better templates. Now you get to keep 10%. That other 10%, I give you a better translator. I give you access to other pieces of the mechanism. Because if you think about it as a factory, so if I hook you with a certain type of scam, then I pass you to the police station. Well, that's Will. Will verifies the police station and passes you to Microsoft support, and that's Jack on the call. And so Jack's now got that part of it. Well, you're all going to want this chunk of change, and that's coming out of my money that I should be getting off the front end of this thing. And so it's a conveyor belt, and along the conveyor belt, the individual who still isn't answering the question gets sliced and diced along the way. And there's more and more people in that conveyor belt now. And if you fall off of that conveyor belt, I'll put you on a different conveyor belt. And that conveyor belt, say John Montgomery's running that conveyor belt. And so me as the individual that hooked you in the first place, I'm going to get all of this goes down and down and down and down and down until all I get is that much out of it. So I have to work 8, 10, 12, 16 hours a day just to make this piece. The people that are running the conveyor belt, they're pretty well out of themselves.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's a factory. If we think about it this way, it's a factory, and that conveyor belt's got to be maintained, it's got to be updated, it's got to be managed. Those tools that I've used to get into your system have to be controlled, have to be sorted. Command and control centers have to be updated. I think people forget this. I think some people still think it's the one adversary sitting in the basement kind of shit. And
it's not the one adversary everywhere. And something that just amazes me, and I probably have mentioned it before, is just working with various security teams at different levels and different organizations and industries. A lot of the folks that are outside of the industry have this false sense of our industry has got it. Like they trust that we've got it, that it's good, it's locked down. We're okay. We're okay over here. Don't worry, because we're gonna see you. And then I'm
tell people that.
I'm like, do you know how many of these organizations and industries that you trust your data to and do business with are holding it together with freaking duct tape and shoestring because nobody is funding the department that takes care of securing that or making sure that it's functioning the right way? No wonder we have the rise of the MSP happen so quickly.
And not just
you're all like, help.
The systems themselves. Right? I mean, How many large corporations are on versions that are either way too old or things like that because they just don't want to touch the big database, right?
Or manufacturing, like the big machines that have to operate off of one system that's 12 years old.
Had a client that I was talking to, or a potential client, they're not a client, potential client I was talking to the other day, engineering company on the East Coast. And they were like, our manufacturing systems are all running on Windows 7. I'm like, not bad. He's like, seriously? I'm like, I said, at least it's not Windows. At least it's not Windows XP where most of them are. And he's like, you kidding me? I'm like, no. He's like, he's like, hey, we talked to the manufacturers, we talked to this, and they're all telling me they can't upgrade, or if they can, it's some exorbitant amount of money. I'm like, Then all you got to do is segment your network. I said, just put this in place. He's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah.
That's
He's
it.
like, yeah. And so it was, but he'd been given all sorts of, information by other security people, like, oh no, you have to do these 25. Well, fuck that. Put a $25 box in between that bit of the network and everything else, and only allow it to do certain things, and only do this. And by the way, log the stupid stuff and monitor it. And he's like, that's it. I'm like, yes.
Go put it in a bubble over here. It'll be fine. Like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But they can't. I mean, and really the thing that, hurts their feelings so bad about all of that is that, upgrade your machine. We're talking about machines that are like $10 million. Like, they can't afford to get another one, guys. They're going to limp along on shoestring and duct tape. Okay.
Well, I mean, and it's so the other question has to be, they shouldn't have to. This is my other thing, this is my other thing that goes along with it is, and a perfect example, Samuel Smith, I apologize. Samuel Smith just basically said, running on everything from Windows 95. Yeah, great. Keep on going with that. Partly because probably half the companies are out of business, and the other half that aren't out of business are focused on something else. And it's like, look, this is, we invented network separation and segmentation for this reason. And if that doesn't work, air gap the motherfucker.
Yep. It's going to be okay.
It's not getting patched. We know that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's already end of life. Like, it's so, what was it? Josh and I came up with coined the phrase that it's so end of life that you need a techno necromancer to bring it back.
Yeah. Beautiful. Oh, that's awesome.
Well, how much cobalt is out there, right?
Oh yeah, well yeah, we run into that every few years, don't we? Was it New Jersey, New York, or New Jersey was like, yeah, we can't do the end of year stuff. Somebody got to know. I mean, yeah, you just got to reel them out of the coffin, knock on the coffin. You still want to do some work and shove them into the office for a bit.
Samuel had another great point.
No, we got other shit to fix first. Samuel, I love the idea about another OS, but no, seriously. Fucking separate and segment the network. We've been doing it for what, 20 years or so, for crying out loud? If we do it properly, shit actually works.
Yeah.
So if we do some of those basics, that's what we try to teach the kids, right? The sloppy IT is what bites you. And if you can interrupt that, make that conveyor belt that you're talking about too expensive to run.
It's also asking questions. We talked a little bit about this on the shit show when we were talking about some of the human nature stuff that's going on at the moment. Unfortunately, we are too quick to believe. We're often very, very, very quick to believe, and we're not good at simple Google, not let alone Google foo. If you turn around and tell me, Will, if you turn around and said, hey, the sky's green or the sky's orange today, well, actually it's orange. The sky's, I don't know, pick a freaking color of the sky never is, bright purple. And I'm like, interesting. And I look out of the window and I don't see bright purple sky. I can ask you and go, Will, I'm not entirely certain I see bright purple sky. Let me just Google that for a second. And, and I Google, why is the sky bright purple? Oh, conspiracy theory, bright purple sky, because the lizard people are changing it and you have to have subsensory systems in your eyes. And I look at Will, I'm like, Will, do we need to have a conversation about lizard people? And do we need to talk about sensory stuff that's maybe getting put into COVID that you think it is? So let's have those, and it changes that from, oh, I believe you and I'm one of your disciples to, let's have a conversation about where reality is. Yeah. And we don't do that. And we don't do it, I think, for a number of reasons. One, because it takes time. But secondly, we don't like confrontation. And thirdly, some people just want to believe it. I don't mind lizard people. I'm kind of up for it. I bring on the lizard people and let the computers take over. It can't be much fucking worse than hi, buddy. Hello. I know, it's food time.
Oh.
It's noon. It's 12, and I'm getting reminded.
Wow. He's on a timer.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. He's been on, Get out of my cup of tea. Bugger off.
Hey, didn't you try to eat your Hacking Human book the other day?
Yes. Yeah, we were playing tug of war with the Hacking Human book. I'm actually going to do some other fun things with the Hacking Human book. I actually want to fry eggs on the Hacking Human book. I've got a way of doing it. I promised Hagnatty that I was going to do some fun stuff with the Hacking Human book. So I'm actually going to take the Hacking Human book with me up into the hills. I'm going to take as long as the weather holds. So I'm actually going to take the boss up into the hills tomorrow
Nice.
And I'm going to see if I can find some places to put the Hacking Human book. I'm going to see if I can get, if I can. I'm going to have some fun with it, just shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm almost
God.
done. I got two.
I need to slap somebody. So much fragmentation can cause a ton of problems. I'm not talking about fragmenting your fuck nuts. I'm talking about actual proper segmentation and separation done properly. Talk to the network people. We actually do love them.
Summer.
Oh, seriously. Let's see. Flat as a pancake network, or one where you actually have rooms in your network house where you know where shit is. I don't know. Let's just talk about organizing some basics. I got that. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, no, I know. Actually, I love that. If the Matrix was real, would it be a bad thing? No. Next question.
You answered that quick. I had to click around.
Could we, I know we could do worse, but could we really, could we actually do much worse than we're doing?
Oh, heck yeah. There's always one.
But is there? Think about this honestly. Is there? So I'm actually, I've got to finish it off today, because if I don't, the CISO people will yell at me. I did a post on LinkedIn. I put a very, very small amount of it, and a slightly controversial picture that I put with it as well to get people thinking. But we talk about digital freedom, or we talk about freedom in general, and freedom of speech, but also just freedom. And I'm like, wake up, we don't have any. In the digital realm, you don't have any freedom of rights. End of discussion, end of conversation, full stop at the end, loves, hugs, and kisses. Because everything you do, everything you say, everywhere you go, everything you try is owned by somebody else. And in the longer piece, I go back to, in the UK and probably in the US as well, we had Speaker's Corner. So it was many, many years ago, 1800s, early 1900s. You could go along to Speaker's Corner and you could stand up on your pedestal and you could say whatever the hell you wanted. And people either listened to you or you got, eggs and rotten tomatoes. I mean, it was, take your pick on that one. And so it was really interesting. And you had freedom. You had the freedom to walk, the freedom to breathe the air, and you had the freedom to get a rotten tomato between the eyes. But this day and age, you don't have those freedoms, because every single step you make in this digital world is owned by somebody else. Everything.
Yeah, but it still gets put out there in vast amounts, just simply because the overall amount is just staggering.
Yeah, I mean it's and the amount of stuff we're creating, which is kind of crazy as well. It's I remember years ago standing up and going, 95% of the data we've created has been created in the last 4 years. And there was a statistic that IBM put out towards the end of last year. Actually, we're still in 2020. I'm sorry, it is December the 12th, the 45th, 46th today. We're still in 2020 as far as I'm concerned. So back in, I want to say September, October, IBM put a really interesting piece out where they were like 90% of all data ever created has been created in the last 2 years. So we've almost got.
It's amazing.
Oh, it's scary. I mean, it's crazy how much. I think it was, the stat is currently 1.7, but I'll be honest, I rounded it up to 2. Every single human being on this planet creates 2 megabytes worth of data every second. So that's 7 billion people creating 2 megabytes. Remember those 1.4 floppy disks we used to all run around? Well, shit, hang on. I've got mine down here. The little 144 floppy disks. I mean, every second, we're handing one, every single one of us. I mean, it's
and so much of it is useless. Right? We're just creating mounds and mounds and mounds of garbage.
Well, that's it. But again, we don't easily feel the effects of that. Unlike, we still create physical garbage, unfortunately, and the oceans really love us for it. Let's be honest. But we at least see those effects. We feel those effects. We see the dumps and everything else around us. But in the digital world, we just don't see it. It is what it is. It's I don't get it. I mean, I can't remember what the stats are these days. It's 90-something percentile about how much of our email is considered spam. And I can't remember the exact stats, but I want to say it's like high 90s is spam email, and that's just scary as all hell as well.
I know I don't check my personal one unless I know I'm looking for something.
I
never get checked.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple of Yahoo accounts I still maintain for that kind of stuff, and it's I mean it's crazy the amount of stuff that comes in there. The Google one, we had a little bit of fun on Google Maps. If there's a business on Google Maps and it hasn't been claimed, you can actually claim their business. You can move it to your address, and you can do all sorts of funny shit. We've done that. I think we currently own. We got one of the pyramids, one of the Egyptian pyramids registered at Hillbilly Hit Squad site. We have North Korean's security agency registered at our site as well, and a few other places.
You're hilarious.
That's fucking fun. Yeah, we just moved the headquarters and just because they haven't claimed it on Google, so we moved it, and then Google sends you this little postcard that says, is this your business? Well, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Say hi to people.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Some of you have seen my Rugrat. Some of you have not seen my Rugrat.
Hello.
Yeah, through the headphones. All right. Give me 2 seconds, guys.
Yeah, no worries. Go ahead. We're gonna be wrapping up here pretty soon anyway. We're already over time. We didn't do too bad. We're 19 minutes.
Well, it's always fun with these guys, right?
Yeah, always. Well, Evan was gonna join us this morning too, but he is living the fabulous life of Evan. He's writing a book, and he's in Mexico, like on the beach. And he was having a hard time with his connection. He was on a round table.
Doing the margarita.
Yeah. He was a couple of different like invite-only roundtable type things. And it's really, if you want to know why I ever sound smart at anything, it's usually because of from these groups of professionals that I just try to hang out with them as much as possible and soak up all of their wisdom through osmosis all the time. I'm just like, pour it into my brain. And we were on that one, and Evan was able to join, and then the connection went like wonky, and we were like, "Oh, no, Evan," but that's okay.
He's awesome. I love him. He's it's really interesting just to the shit show's great because there are definitely 3 very different characters.
Yeah,
but with some very, very similar, I don't know if it's just ethics, maybe that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
Some very, very similar ways of wanting to do things. We got different ways of doing it, no 2 ways about it. But
right.
Yeah, I have so much respect for not just for those folks, but for everybody else. And it's, it is weird because you run. Let's face it, you run all the behind the scenes stuff on the chat side of it.
Do I?
I look at you as doing that. Let me just put it that way. Let's just put that.
And yes, that's exactly what's happening.
But I look at it that way. It's fun that way. To me, I look at it.
Yeah, I looked up one day and I was like, have I become some sort of weird unofficial mascot?
Yeah, totally. No mascot. No, you're part of the crew. But I think it's also, to me, and Will, same thing. You're in there all the time, and there's some other folks. One thing we did not actually address last night, and I don't know. I got to be honest, I don't know how to tackle it, and it's a slightly more somber subject, shall we say? But I want to address Jason, the situation with Jason at some point in time, and I don't know how, and I don't know when, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't really want to end on this note, but it is definitely one of those things where I think we have to have a conversation about it on the shit show. And I haven't really talked to Ryan or Evan about it yet, but what happened, how it happened, why it happened. We talk about our industry with passion, but we also have to realize that our industry takes its toll on people. Mm-hmm. We have to realize that, unfortunately, our industry, we have got mental health challenges in our industry, and it's not a negative thing. It is what it is. We all have it. I I know my coping mechanisms. I know my thresholds, thankfully, and I know when things. I'm fortunate. I've got to the point where I can recognize my own warning signs, shall we say?
One of the unique things about this industry, right, is because it's digital, and because so much of the rest of the company, organization, whatever, doesn't understand that, it's easy to just keep sucking and pull from people.
Yeah.
Late hours, long weekends, without recognition, because they don't know when something good or something bad has happened.
Right.
And when a large part of IT people will put heart and soul into what they do, right?
Yep.
Their networks, they take ownership. Their systems, they take ownership, and to be treated as a machine many times, that's hard.
Yeah.
And they have to be aware of that. You are not a machine. You are a person. You are worthwhile. It's important.
Yeah, but it's tough though. I mean, it's tough, and there's the reason we've got the mental health hackers crew out there that have got some fantastic stuff on their site.
Yeah.
But it's I think we do need to figure out not just how we have that conversation inside the shit show, but I think how we keep those conversations going. Because we lose too many people. I lost another good friend earlier in December, unfortunately as well, for exactly the same reasons in our industry. And it's you sit there and you're like, what can we do? How can we help everybody, especially the new people coming in? The new people, the kids, the students, and everybody coming into this industry has to realize that it is more than just an 8-hour job, whether they like it or not, or whether they want it or not. It does become part of who we are. No two ways about it. And it's not everybody, but so many of us, it becomes part of who we are, and that's both good, and it's also it's a double-edged sword. No two ways about it. So,
and it's also a treadmill, right? Because it doesn't stop. I mean, you can go through a lot of different professions, and once you've been trained, once you know that, well, then you're pretty good for quite a period of time.
Yeah.
It's a constant college cram.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we keep joking about we're making shit up as we go along, but we really are making shit up as we go along. This is I liken this. Part of my background is theoretical mathematics. And so I've done the quantum side of it. I've done part of my background is pure crypto, like crazy stupid shit. So theoretical mathematics is the same way. I mean, it's very much you are constantly re-examining the world around you and the constraints that we put on ourselves within the mathematical realm, and you're constantly challenging those. And our industry is the same way. It's a constant challenge. It is a chess game. I mean, I think one of the crew here said 4G chess, and it's like it is. If you've ever played 3D chess or 4D chess, the one where you have the 3 different chessboards, it really is like that. It's a fantastic game, and I love playing it. But good grief alive, it's a mental strain.
Yeah.
So
and forgiving.
Yes, especially more and more that we get into this. I mean, we've all been in this for long enough, or we've all known about this industry for long enough that it used to be, you screwed up, you rebooted the computer. Well, that computer these days is attached to somebody's heart, or is attached to a critical system, or is about to repower the power for the city, or one of 10 or 20 other things that we might or might not understand the consequences of. And it definitely, we are influencing the physical world more and more and more and more and more these days.
And that's the cool thing with the shit show, is that you put the humanity back into the process, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I like we were talking about before we went live, and then I broke whatever we were trying to do. We were talking about just how much I like that it gives people the ability to really become, on a friendship level with 3 industry professionals that do have a lot of wisdom and have messed up. So you know what I mean? Like let's, you're not perfect. You said it yourself, and that's important. that's important to share too, right? Like you're not this untouchable entity. You just have screwed it up enough times to get it right.
Sometimes, yeah.
I brought this up at the beginning of the conversation, right before we went live, but it's true. The three of you have a very different perception because you have visibility into areas that mere mortals do not, right? And being able to tap someone or to be able to hear their thinking and their thoughts that have visibility in behind the veil to some degree is very helpful.
That's true. Yeah, that is, and that's, I think, we've talked about this a little bit offline with the crew, is I do some stupid shit, but I'm very fortunate because I do some other shit that allows me to do stupid shit for various folks out of DC and other areas and other countries to some degree as well. And it does allow you a little bit more insight. To your point, it allows you a little bit more insight into what's actually going on and why. A perfect example was a very good friend of mine. I sent him a picture of an individual that was very, very front and center last Wednesday when people were storming the Bastille. And he's like, oh, and he blamed the other side for it. And I told him, I'm like, look, I can't tell you what I'm looking at, but you know how I do intel reports? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm looking at that guy's intel report. And he's like, oh. I'm like, so love your idea, love the fact of where everybody's thinking he is, but it isn't the case. And, and it's, you know as well as I do, you got to be so careful on some of that stuff because, there's so much trust involved in some of that, but it's an interesting world. It's a frustrating world as well, because I think the other thing is I wish, perfect example, when Snowden stood up and said, hey, we're doing shady shit. We are doing some shady shit. I'll put that one straight out there. But some of the shady shit that we're doing it for the right reasons.
Right.
We all hear about all the negative stuff. Oh, the agency's doing this and the agency's doing that. But unfortunately, what you don't hear about is some of the stuff that didn't happen because of what we're doing. It's the same stuff working with SOCOM JSOC folks. So often you hear about one or two things that occur, but you don't hear about the constant ops that are going on that stop other things from happening. And you don't hear about it because you just can't say anything about it. Because if I tip my hand and say, hey, we stopped XYZ from occurring, and then the bad guys, to one of the points on here, the bad guys go, well, how the fuck did they find out about that? And they reverse into it, and they suddenly realize that, we've had access to a perfect example, one that we can talk about. You can patch the crap out of your computer for all I care, but 60 seconds I'm inside it at most if it really takes me. I don't care what you do to your computer. You can put Clown Strike on it, you can put Carbon on it, you put whatever the fuck you want onto that computer. You can hide it behind whatever fucking wall you want to hide it behind. 60 seconds I'm in your computer, end of discussion. Now, how that happens, where that happens, why that happens, the methodology, the challenges, you kind of want to hold some of those cards really, really close. Because for the 20 or 50 or 100 people that you really want to keep an eye on, you want to keep an eye on those people at the detriment maybe of some other issues. And that's also one of those balances. That's a tough one. Perfect example, when the feds turned around and said, oh my gosh, we have to have access to these telephones. The agencies hunkered down and didn't say a fucking thing because they're like, we can already get into the stupid things, but we can't tell you. Because if we tell you, a judge is going to ask you, how did you get into the damn thing? And then all of our secrets and our tradecraft comes to nothing. So, sorry, you're on your own.
Right.
Yeah, well, also, from somebody who's a watcher of the shit show and who appreciates what you guys are doing upside down backwards, when you talk about the mental health issues, please make sure that you take care of yourselves, okay? Because the other real challenge for you that I recognize anyway is that you're in positions where you see the real dirt of humanity, right? The real ugly side of humanity, which the rest of us can only imagine. But when you have to analyze something like somebody being beheaded with a knife, or when you have to deal with the Innocent Lives Foundation.
That's a huge one.
Right?
That's a huge one.
Messed up. It's very difficult to go through those kind of things without having some effect. So please stay aware of that, and please,
I got dogs. That I'll be honest. Those, and it's interesting. I know ILF's got their mandatory head shrinky time after a certain amount of hours of actually dealing with that data.
Yeah, it's like we get to hang
yeah, we have something similar for some of the stuff that we do, but that's relatively new. Got to be honest, because I mean, for quite a long time, it's been the military, which is suck it up.
Yeah.
That only goes so far. There's only so many holes that you can bury those boxes in before you run out of space to bury the boxes.
Well, part of that is also understanding yourself enough to know when you need to walk away, right? Like the stuff that I do with the ILF, it's not, I'm not going into that conversation that far, right? Like I've introduced somebody that's, got a case to the right people at ILF, and they've kept me CC'd like in that email or whatever. And I'm like, hey, you got to drop me. We're getting to a point that I'm out, because I know where my personal limits are and what I can handle. So it's, if for me to stay sunshine and bubbles, I know I got to stay out of there. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Yeah, no, totally.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm stopping here, right? Like it's I can't go any further than this. If you want to hang out with some super cool people that have visibility into that, sure, I'll happily introduce you to the ones that want you to know them, right? Because
I always remember reading a story, and I think it was a law enforcement officer, and I think the story's out there, and there's probably various flavors of it around. And this law enforcement officer, before he went into the house, would stop in the garden and touch a specific tree, and would just hold on to that tree for, however long they felt they needed to, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. And that was their release. And then they could walk in the house and be a normal human being. That was their way of going from, I'm an LEO person that has to deal with all sorts of shit they got to deal with, into I'm a family person that is focused solely on my family and being able to work with them and take care of them in my role and all these other things. So it was a really interesting way of doing it. And I've got the dogs out. Unfortunately, I got the boss, and quite honestly, I got music. The music is a huge one for me.
Yeah, but also spread to the other members of the shit show who also do this stuff, that it's not just you guys, the folks in the circle outside care. So even though we are not in that tight space,
everybody's the same. Everybody is the same. I mean Ryan said it, which is, it's basically family now, which is where I want to expand it, because more people I think need to hear the message, but there's that, how do you do it carefully? I find that I get that on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's absolutely amazing. I got to be honest, I'm ridiculously fortunate for the most part on LinkedIn that there's some amazing people, and I get check-in emails, which is really, really nice, and I drop check-in emails out to people as well, same thing. There's some good, really, really amazing folks on there who are like, hey, you're still alive, you're still doing okay, and is the brain still functioning as it normally kind of should, and it's just stuff like that. There's some pretty amazing folks.
Yeah, definitely. So
anytime you need a shift or whatever, let me know, and once we get past the COVID stuff, I'll get you in the midst of students, and
that'd be fun.
That's an environment where you can see hope. That's an environment where you're changing lives for the better directly. You're dealing with the single mothers. You're dealing with the people who are re-engineering their life skills. There's all that. And so whenever you need that charge after COVID and we can get students back in,
I'm up for that. I love that.
I got a list of places growing on my release me from my COVID cage list of places to go.
Gosh.
And I'm going to see Will. Will and I have never met in person.
Oh, no way. Oh,
Yeah,
that's-
no, it happened.
Do you know how many relationships I have developed through the course of COVID, just trying to cater to my social butterfly side that I haven't met in person yet, which is, this is as a person as we're going to get right now.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm going to breathe the same air as Will McCullen. What?
Unfortunately, I think we're a ways off. I would be surprised if it's going to be, I mean, maybe by the end of the year. I mean, everybody's saying 6 months or whatever, but given the uptick and given the challenges and the mentality of everybody that, it's full of creepy crawly electronics that are taking over the brain and 5G is going to cook you at the same time. Unfortunately, I've got a horrible feeling it's going to take us a while before we hit herd immunity.
Yeah, well, I get my shot on Tuesday, so I'm
nice. Oh, that's fantastic. That's totally cool. Yeah, I don't even know where the hell we are in the list. I got to be honest, I've not even looked. It's like anything. My preference is we hit everybody that needs to have it first. And perfect example. JJ Snow, another freaking amazing person. Because she has compromised immunity. I mean, she's in a freaking lockdown until somebody gets the first and possibly the second jab, etc., etc., etc. Yeah,
earlier this week, we had a faculty member pass away. And he was like 20 days on sedated, on a respirator, and all that stuff till he finally lost lung elasticity. And very much loved, strong member of the community, was the president of probably the largest K-12 school district, TUSD, ran for office, and yet he would teach Microsoft. He worked for the city at times and would teach Microsoft to the students.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of people impacted.
Yeah.
And lost to something that just really
shouldn't have been. Yeah, that's
thank you.
Yeah, that's my frustration with the whole thing. It's like we shouldn't be here. We're going to lose people. I mean, to not use the flu analogy, but to use the flu analogy, unfortunately, we lose so many people to flu as well. But this is something we saw coming. This is something we could have and should have done a better job of.
And still can do a better job with.
And that's the thing. The simple fact at the moment is you've still got people bouncing around like formless idiots, challenging it. I'm like, for fuck's. I mean, again, so this is always the one thing that frustrates the hell out of me. Is like, how many people do I have to kill before you pay attention? And that's my problem with this whole thing. It's as humans, we're not good with this. It's until I'm stepping over bodies, so many people don't pay attention. And it's like, okay, do I kill your parents? Do I kill your grandparents? Do I kill your kids off? Do I kill your significant other off? At what point in time will you pay attention and you won't blame the system and you won't blame somebody else and you won't blame the government and you won't blame physicians? And at what point in time are you going to actually look in the mirror and go, I'm the one that's responsible for the deaths?
Yep. That's one of the reasons. So I've said it time and time again. I'm like severely anemic. I have to go and get infusions at a cancer center. Like usually once every 6 weeks or so. It's 4 to 6 weeks I go and I have not had a treatment since we got back from RSA. Just because the anxiety associated with the fact that I would walk in there into a cancer treatment center.
Yeah.
And possibly infect anybody around me while I'm getting my treatment, I'm good. I'll just be a little tired and a little pastier until then, which is what I get very out of breath and I pass out very easily.
But Rachel, be careful, please.
Oh yeah, no, we're good.
It's that balance, that risk balance. Yeah.
I'm not operating any heavy machinery. Okay, like I'm not the one. But I just have to stand up a little slower when I go to is basically
you're one of the folks that are making a good difference. So
Yeah, big time.
take care.
Oh, well, thank you guys. Usually I'm pretty sure I'm just hanging out and talking to some cool people. I hope it's valuable to other people, and it looked like it has been. Look, we have 16 people that have hung on for dear life.
So I am gonna have to disappear in a minute. I got one dog already sitting there like, where's my damn food?
Yeah,
Daisy will be down at some point.
I have a job and people I need to go to.
Yeah, I gotta get letters of intent out and all that shenanigans.
But hey, Chris, thank you so much for hanging with us.
No, this was appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, this is a good conversation. Thank you both for the invite. Hugely appreciated. Rachel, as always, you're freaking awesome. Will, thank you as much as well. Hugely appreciated.
Well, thank you so much. Next week, we're going to be doing this again. It's going to be at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. That's my time. So that's why I get to tell you guys 11:30 Central. And we're going to be hanging out with Cypher. And if you don't know who Cypher is, go to Twitter.
Oh, right? That'll be fun. Oh, God, you guys will have a riot with that one. Yeah, that'll be totally cool.
Yeah, so I'm super excited for that. So check out the events tab and all that stuff and follow, and yay, and don't worry, I put messages out. And it may break again, but don't worry, I'll send you a link.
It is what it is. We'll figure this shit out.
Yeah, I need to get events going with the students again, where they can come in and hang out, and Cypher is like real high on my list.
Nice. Yeah,
students like nobody else.
Oh yeah, that'll be freaking awesome.
I'm toying with the idea of having like a Discord that's open during certain hours of the day, like office hours. That's
all. Yeah, I can't. I literally trimmed I have Slack, and I realized about a week ago, I'm like, I can't deal with all this shit. I was actually avoiding Slack. And I had 19 different channels that I was trying to do. Yeah, 19 different channels, and I've actually trimmed it down to like 6.
Oh my God.
I love all of you, but I got 6 channels, and now I actually feel like I can go into Slack and not get too scared. So I don't do Discord. I have a Discord account. I can't do it. There's so many. I mean, we got Signal, I got messaging, we got LinkedIn, we got chat, I got Teams. Yeah, so for fuck's sake.
Yeah, like 8 of my 1,000 tabs that are open every day are 8 different messaging platforms. just
too much going on. I get
yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly. And to your point, we still got to work, unfortunately. But it's like, okay, balance. Yeah, just went out the window.
Oh, hey, Molly. Yay, she put hearts.
Oh, bless. Molly's awesome.
Yay, I love Molly.
Awesome.
All right, we got to go.
All right.
I'm out of coffee.
Damn coffee, freaking bean burners, I tell you. I'm out of tea as well. I gotta make another cup of tea. All right. You guys take care. Love you guys. Awesome.
Love you too. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us in the chat, and we'll see you next time.